Hello. We're thinking about accommodation in the eye in this video. That is how the eye focuses light onto the retina to give a clean and crisp image on the retina at the back of the eye, and how the different parts of the eye contribute to this process. Now, we've looked at the parts of the eye in a previous video. That video was on the iris reflex. So let's just label it up again. Now, this is an eye taken in cross section, and here we go. They're all going up, and the parts of the eye we're really interested in this video are this one, the lens. That's this object here. These ones, the suspensory ligaments, that's these things here. Now, these will make a circle, a complete orbit all around the lens here. I'm trying to go this way. Of course, it doesn't. It goes above it, but I can't show that in 2 dimensions here. And the ciliary muscle, and by the by, the ciliary body, which kind of controls the ciliary muscle. These are the bits which will move, which will do things. Other bits which will become important in the story will be the yellow spot over here. Now, this is the part of the retina which has the highest density of cones, and so we want to be focusing the central part of the image in front of us on that fovea. The retina, of course, being the light-sensitive cells at the back of the eye, those cells which detect light and turn light energy into electrical impulses. They transduce the energy. Other things we can think about, the vitreous humour, that's the jelly-like stuff in this area here, and the cornea. Great. Well, let's have a think about what has to happen to light in order to get as far as the fovea. First of all, it has to come in this way, and it gets as far as the cornea, and the cornea will refract that light slightly as it comes in at an angle. And you know what, I'm going to get these angles all wrong here, and the lens will also refract light, and then it will bend it so that we get this image formed there on the retina. We get light falling on the retina that way. And the cornea starts off this process by bending or refracting the light as it comes into the eye. But the cornea is fixed. The shape of the cornea does not, or rather I should say, should not change, and therefore it isn't of a great deal of use when you're thinking about focusing light from objects a different distance away from you. Just quickly, I want to highlight items that are not involved in focusing, and in particular this one here. The iris is in no way involved in focusing the light. The iris is the colours of someone's eye. If you say that someone has brown or hazel eyes, then it's the iris you're referring to. The iris is to do with the quantity of light that's allowed to enter the eye, and it does not have anything to do with the focusing of that light. So at this point, what I want you to do is I want you to look at the screen, and then I want you to look out the window or something far away and look at a tree. I don't know where you are. Maybe you are on the Serengeti, gazing at wildebeest as they majestically swoop across the grassland. Maybe you are in the top of a tower block somewhere and you can look out and see the far, far horizon. So try to look at this screen and then look at someone far, far away and then look back at the screen. Now, your eye has done something astonishing and remarkable as it has done that. It has almost instantly, certainly unnoticeably to you, changed the shape of the lens in order to change how much it refracts or bends the light that comes into the eye in order to focus a clean and crisp image onto your retina. Let's have a look at how it does that. This image at the top here shows what the eye does when the objects are far away. If an object is far away, light will come in parallel rays or close to parallel rays. Now, if the rays are coming in parallel, we want to focus them in on this point here at the back, but we don't have to bend them that much as they come in. In fact, the cornea here will do that refraction for us. The shape of the cornea will focus light really nicely that comes in parallel rays. It will focus it onto the retina and we'll get our nice clean image. So when the object is far away, our lens here does not need to be fat. We don't want too much refraction going on at the lens. So we describe the lens as being thin or less convex. Convex meaning bulgy. Okay, great. That's what happens when the object is a long way away. But what about when the object is close? Here we have a close object, and you can see that the rays are divergent coming off that object, and if we want to focus those rays back to be convergent to the back of the eye, we've got to bend this light more or refract this light more. This is the process of accommodation. How does the eye do this? When you looked away to those wildebeest, and wouldn't it be amazing if someone just put in the comments below, you know what? I was actually watching wildebeest. Oh, good. It won't happen, I know. But when you were looking at those wildebeest and then you looked back of this screen here, you'll see the light from this screen here has to be bent a great deal more to get it to a focal point at the back of your eye. Now the cornea will contribute towards this, it will refract the light, but now we also need refraction to be done by the lens. And because we need more refraction, we need the lens to be thicker. Now you may not know this, but in the olden days when glasses technology wasn't quite so cool and nifty and trendy as it is these days, people with really poor eyesight who really needed to refract light a lot had big thick glasses so that they could refract that light, or so that the glasses could refract that light all the more in order to give them a nice clean image on the back of their eye. So a larger, wider, fatter, or indeed more convex, let's write that down here, more convex lens leads to greater refraction, and it will bring these light rays back together to that focal point. How do we achieve this wider lens? That is done by these chaps here. These here are the ciliary muscles controlled by the ciliary body, and I would like you to get a hold of your right bicep. Just grab it with your left hand, put your 4 fingers of your left hand across the top of the bicep, and now flex, 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 I tell you, flex. And you will find that your right bicep bulges up nicely like this huge bicep here. I'm sure yours is every bit as defined as this. Now what does that do? That means that this muscle here, because it bulges, becomes closer to the lens. Here we're a fair bit of distance away, but as it bulges it becomes closer like that. Because the distance from the ciliary muscle to the lens is now shorter, there's the lens, these suspensory ligaments here become slacker. Because the distance between their 2 endpoints is now shorter, they become slacker, and therefore they pull less on the lens. So the lens therefore retracts back this way and becomes bulgier as it does so. Whereas here, our suspensory ligaments are tight, and therefore they're pulling on the lens, they're pulling the lens that way. And as they pull the lens that way, they stretch it out and they make it thin or less convex. And that is how it does it. This is a box I think you should try to remember. Object distance, ciliary muscle, suspensory ligament, blah, blah, blah. And the counterintuitive point that you're going to need to remember here is that in order to pull the lens to a narrow or thinner shape for far objects, you relax the muscle. That's going to be the weird counterintuitive thing that's going to catch you out, that would catch me out, etc., etc. But it's because of this effect of tightening or slackening the suspensory ligaments by getting big, bulgy, contracting muscles with a near object, or relaxed flat muscles for a far object. Well, I hope that's helped and it's not just random squiggles on a page. If it is, hey, I hope I haven't wasted too much time, but otherwise, let us know about those wonderful wildebeest.